The emergency alarm echoed through the Galactic Council chamber. Ambassador Thelon of the Yaltran Collective stood at the center platform, his 6 arms trembling as he spoke. His people were dying. The Krejan Dominion had surrounded 3 of their colony worlds with warships. The message from the Krejan was simple and cruel. Surrender in 48 hours, or every Yaltran on those worlds would die. Commander Jiwoo Park sat in the human delegation section and watched the chaos unfold. Around her, representatives from 200 species argued and shouted. Some wanted to help. Most said it was impossible. The Yaltran worlds were too far away. By the time any military force could reach them, the deadline would pass. "We need at least 3 weeks to gather a fleet," said the Vraxian ambassador, his scales turning gray with stress. The Krejan chose their target well. Those colonies are in a remote sector. "Then we abandon them?" Thelon's voice broke. "We accept that my people will become slaves? Or worse?" The council speaker, a tall being made of living crystal, raised her hands for silence. "The council sympathizes with your situation, but we must be realistic. We cannot teleport ships across the galaxy." Jiwoo stood up. Her movement was quiet, but somehow every eye in the chamber turned to her. She was small compared to most species present. Humans were new to the Galactic Council. They had only joined 20 years ago. Most species still thought of them as the friendly newcomers who ran medical stations and helped with disasters. "The human delegation wishes to speak," she said calmly. The speaker looked surprised. "Commander Park, we appreciate human compassion, but this requires military intervention. Your species has been focused on diplomatic and humanitarian work." "We will respond to this crisis," Jiwoo said. Her voice was steady and clear. The chamber fell silent. Then someone laughed. It was Ambassador Court of the Hefnian Empire. "With what? Your hospital ships? The Krejan have 3 battle fleets surrounding those worlds. This needs real warships." Jiwoo did not react to the mockery. She pulled out her communication device and typed a short message. Her fingers moved quickly over the keys. When she finished, she looked up at the speaker. "I have just sent authorization for full fleet deployment to Earth Command. Our ships are already en route to the Yaltran colonies." The laughter grew louder. Several ambassadors shook their heads. Ambassador Court smiled widely. "Commander, your closest ships are at least a month away from that sector. I admire human optimism, but mathematics does not change for good intentions." "Our fleet will arrive in 31 hours, Jiwoo replied. The laughter stopped. The speaker leaned forward. "Commander Park, did you say 31 hours? "Yes, Council Speaker. That is impossible. To reach that sector in 31 hours, ships would need to already be in transit, very close to the target. Did humanity know about this attack beforehand?" Jiwoo shook her head. "No, Speaker. We did not know. But our rapid response fleet maintains constant readiness protocols. The moment I sent the authorization code, they began their jump sequence from their deployment positions." Ambassador Thelon moved toward the human section. His eyes were wide with desperate hope. "Commander, please, if you are certain your ships can arrive in time, please help us. The Krejan will not show mercy. They will kill everyone who resists." Jiwoo met his eyes. "Ambassador Thelon, humanity made a promise when we joined the Galactic Council. We promised that we would never stand by and watch genocide happen. Not to any species, not anywhere, not ever. We will help your people." "But where are these ships coming from?" the Vraxian ambassador asked. "We have tracking stations throughout the galaxy. We have never seen a major human military presence anywhere." "That is correct," Jiwoo said. "You have not seen them. That was intentional." The council speaker's crystalline body flickered with confusion. "Are you saying humanity has been hiding a military fleet?" "We have not been hiding it, Speaker. We simply keep it out of sight. Our fleet exists for one purpose only: emergency intervention to prevent extinction-level threats to sapient species. It does not patrol trade routes. It does not participate in border disputes. It waits, ready to respond to situations exactly like this one. "How large is this fleet?" Ambassador Court asked. His mocking tone was gone now. Ji-Woo looked at him. "Large enough." Another ambassador stood. She was from the Pelthian Union, a species known for their advanced sensors. "Commander, if your fleet is as large as you suggest, how have we never detected it? Our monitoring systems cover most of known space." "Your systems cover inhabited space and major travel corridors," Ji-Woo answered. "Our fleet bases are located in empty systems that no one visits. Systems with no habitable planets, no valuable resources, and no strategic importance. Perfect places to hide something you hope you never have to use." The chamber erupted in conversation again. Some species sounded angry. They felt deceived. Others sounded curious. A few sounded relieved. Ji-Woo ignored all of it and walked down to where Ambassador Theln stood. "My people thank you," Theln said quietly. His voice shook. "Even if your ships arrived too late, we thank you for trying. No other species offered to send anything." "Our ships will not be too late," Ji-Woo told him gently. "And Ambassador, we are not sending ships. We are sending a fleet. When the Kresians see what is coming, they will have a choice to make." "What choice?" "To leave peacefully or to leave in chains. Either way, they will leave your worlds. This I promise you." Theln's eyes filled with tears. In his long life, he had never heard such certainty from anyone. This small human stood before the entire Galactic Council and made a promise that seemed impossible. Yet something in her eyes made him believe. Across the galaxy, in the Yaltrin system, Kresian Fleet Commander Varkesh sat on his command throne and smiled. His prey was trapped. Soon they would surrender. Another species would kneel before the Dominion. His sensors showed nothing approaching. No rescue would come. He was very, very wrong. Fleet Commander Varkesh walked through the command deck of his flagship, the Crushing Fist. Through the massive viewing windows, he could see his fleet. 300 warships surrounded the 3 Yaltrin colony worlds. It was beautiful. The Yaltrin had weak defenses, a few orbital stations, some mining ships, nothing that could challenge even a single Kresian destroyer. The countdown showed 30 hours remaining until the Yaltrin deadline. Varkesh expected them to surrender much sooner. They always did. Weak species always chose slavery over death. The Kresian Dominion had conquered 47 species using this exact strategy. Arrive with overwhelming force. Give them an impossible choice. Watch them break. "Commander," his second officer called out. "Intelligence report from Galactic Council space." Varkesh turned. Second Officer Thrax looked worried. That was unusual. Thrax had served in 20 campaigns. Nothing worried him. "What is it?" "The Council held an emergency session about our operation here. They voted to intervene." Varkesh laughed. "Intervene? The Council needs weeks to agree on anything. By the time they gather a fleet, we will be gone with our new subjects." "That is the unusual part, Commander. The humans said they would respond." "Humans?" Varkesh searched his memory. Humans, the newcomers. They joined the Council 20 years ago. He had reviewed the intelligence files on every Council species. Humans ran medical stations. They helped with refugee crises. They built schools on primitive worlds. They were soft, weak, exactly the kind of species the Dominion would conquer eventually. "Let me see the human file," Varkesh ordered. Thrax brought up the data on the main screen. Varkesh read through it. Human military presence in known space was minimal. A few dozen exploration ships, some science vessels, escort ships for their hospital convoys. Nothing impressive. Their largest known vessel was a medical ship called the Mercy. It carried doctors and nurses, not weapons. "This is what the Council sends against us?" Varkesh gestured at the screen with contempt. "Medical ships?" "The intelligence officer suggested I show you something else," Thrax said. He looked even more uncomfortable now. "Rumors from the galactic underworld, Stories about humans. Stories? Varkesh's tone made it clear what he thought of stories. 3 years ago, the Selthan pirate fleet attacked a human medical convoy near the Outer Veil. The convoy had only 2 escort ships. The pirates had 20 warships. And the pirates never returned. None of them. 20 ships just disappeared. The humans claimed the pirates retreated, but no one has seen any of those ships since. Varkesh shrugged. Pirates run when they meet resistance. This proves nothing. Thrax continued. 2 years ago, slave traders captured a human research vessel near the void depths. They took the crew to sell on the black market. Within 1 week, the entire slave trading station was destroyed. Every slave was freed. The traders were found locked in their own cells. The humans claimed it was a council police action. The council does raid slave operations. But, Commander, the council had no ships in that sector, and the freed slaves all reported the same thing. They said humans came, silent humans in black armor. They moved through the station like ghosts. They freed everyone. They hurt no one except the slavers, and they left before any council ships arrived. Varkesh felt a small seed of doubt. What are you suggesting? That humans have some secret military force? The rumors say humans hide their strength. They say humans learn something from their own history, something about what happens when powerful species use their full strength. The rumors say humans are afraid of what they could become if they show their true capabilities. Ridiculous, Varkesh said, but his voice lacked certainty. Humans negotiate. They mediate. They heal. These are not warrior behaviors. There is one more thing, Thrax said quietly. A very old rumor. It says that humans made a promise when they joined the council. They promised that no species would ever face extinction while humans existed to prevent it. The rumor says they built something, a fleet that no one has ever seen, a fleet they hope they never have to use. Varkesh stared at his second officer. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he shook his head. These are tales to frighten children. We are the Krejan Dominion. We have conquered 47 species. We do not fear myths. Yes, Commander. Thrax did not look convinced. Return to your station. Monitor the Yaltran communications. I want to know the moment they decide to surrender. Thrax saluted and walked away. Varkesh turned back to the viewing window. His fleet floated in perfect formation. 300 of the finest warships the Dominion had built. He had fought for 30 years. He had seen species try to resist. They always failed in the end, but the rumors bothered him more than he wanted to admit. What if there was truth in them? What if humans had hidden something? Commander! The sensor officer's voice cut through his thoughts. I am detecting hyperspace signatures. Varkesh walked to the sensor station. How many? I am counting them now. 20, 40, 80. 80 ships? Are they council forces? The sensor officer's face went pale. His hands moved faster across his controls. No, Commander. These signatures are all identical. Same drive technology, same energy output. They are from a single fleet. Which species? I am checking the signature database. Matching. No match found. What do you mean, no match? Every known species has their hyperspace signature in our database. Yes, Commander, but these signatures do not match anything we have on file. These ships use a drive technology that is not in our records. Varkesh felt cold. Unknown technology. Unknown fleet, moving toward his position at high speed. How long until they arrive? At their current velocity. 6 hours. 6 hours? From where are they coming? The sensor officer checked again. Multiple vectors, Commander. They are not coming from a single location. They are converging on our position from at least 20 different approach vectors. How many ships now? Still counting. 200, 300, 400. Varkesh gripped the edge of the console. 400 ships, from an unknown fleet, using unknown technology, all converging on his position. This was not possible. Commander, I am detecting a transmission from the approaching fleet. It is on all frequencies. They are broadcasting their identification. What is it? Who are they? The sensor officer looked up at Varkesh. Fear showed clearly in his eyes now. They identify as Earth Defense Fleet. They are human ships, Commander. All of them. The command deck went silent. Every officer turned to look at Varkesh. He could see the same question in all their eyes. How did humans have 400 warships? Where did they come from? Where had they been hiding? Final count, Commander, the sensor officer whispered. 847 ships, all human, all converging on our position. Varkesh stood frozen. 847 ships. His fleet had 300. The humans outnumbered him almost 3-1, and these were not medical ships. The energy signatures showed military-grade weapon systems, heavy armor, advanced shields. The rumors were true, all of them. Humans had been hiding a fleet, a massive fleet, and now it was coming, for him. All ships to battle stations, Varkesh ordered. His voice was calm, but his mind raced. Prepare defensive formations. Charge all weapons. This will not be an easy victory. But deep inside, Varkesh wondered if victory was even possible anymore. Ambassador Theln walked beside Commander Ji-Woo Park through the corridors of the council station. The emergency session had ended hours ago. But Theln could not rest. His people were waiting to die or be enslaved. Even with the human promise of help, he found it hard to believe rescue would come in time. Commander Park, may I ask you a question? Theln's voice was quiet. Of course, Ambassador. Where are these ships coming from? I have studied galactic ship movements as part of my diplomatic duties. I have never seen any indication that humanity has a large military fleet. Ji-Woo stopped walking. She turned to face the tall Yaltrin. Ambassador, what do you know about human history? Before we reached the stars? Very little. I know your species had wars. Most species do before they unify their worlds. We had more than wars, Ambassador. We had genocides. Multiple times in our history, groups of humans tried to exterminate other groups of humans, sometimes because of religion, sometimes because of race, sometimes for reasons that made no sense at all. Millions died. In some cases, tens of millions. Theln's arms folded close to his body, a gesture of horror in Yaltrin culture. I am sorry. I did not know. We carry that history with us, Ji-Woo continued. When we finally unified Earth and reached for the stars, we made a promise. Never again. Not just for humans, but for any species. We would never stand by and watch genocide happen if we had the power to stop it. But why hide your military strength? Many species have powerful fleets. The Council would have welcomed human military support. Ji-Woo smiled sadly. That is exactly why we hide it, Ambassador. We know what we are capable of. We know what happens when humans have military power and use it without restraint. Our history taught us that lesson in blood. So when we built our fleet, we built it for one purpose only, to intervene when species face extinction, not to patrol borders, not to fight in territorial disputes, not to enforce our will on others. Only to stop genocide. How large is this fleet? Large enough that if we showed it openly, other species would fear us. They would see us as a threat. They would build their own fleets to counter ours. We would start an arms race that would make the galaxy less safe, not more safe. So we keep our ships in empty systems. We train in secret. We maintain readiness at all times. And we hope we never have to use them. Theln was quiet for a moment. But you are using them now. For my people. Yes, because the Krejan left us no choice. They will kill or enslave every Yaltrin on those worlds if we do not act. That is exactly the situation our fleet was designed for. How many ships are coming? 847. Theln's legs nearly gave out. He leaned against the corridor wall. 800. How is that possible? That is larger than the combined fleets of 20 council species. We have been building for 20 years, Ambassador. Building quietly, building carefully. Every ship designed for rapid deployment. Every crew trained for this exact mission. We call it the Guardian Fleet, because its only job is to guard others from extinction. What kind of ships? All kinds. Battle cruisers to disable enemy forces, hospital ships to treat wounded, evacuation transports to move refugees if needed, engineering vessels to repair damaged infrastructure, supply ships to deliver food and medicine. We do not just come to fight, Ambassador. We come to save lives. That is the difference. Behind them, the corridor filled with other ambassadors. Word had spread about the human fleet. They wanted answers. The council speaker led the group. Her crystalline body glowed with agitation. Commander Park, the council demands an explanation. How can humanity maintain a fleet of over 800 ships without anyone knowing? This is deception on a massive scale. Jiwoo faced the crowd calmly. Speaker, with respect, we deceived no one. We never claimed to have only small ships. We simply did not advertise our full capabilities. There is a difference between hiding something and not announcing it. The distinction seems minor, Ambassador Court said coldly. You have been lying to us for 20 years. No, Ambassador. We have been waiting, hoping we would never need to reveal what we built. Every day that passed without using our fleet was a day when no species faced extinction. That is success, not deception. The Pelthian ambassador stepped forward. What happens after this mission? Will you keep this fleet? Will you use it to enforce your will on the council? We will keep the fleet, Jiwoo said firmly, because the need will not end with the Yaltrin. There will be other Krejons, other threats, other species that need protection. As for enforcing our will, that has never been our goal. We made a promise. We will defend those who cannot defend themselves. We will stop extinction when we have the power to do so. But we will never invade. We will never conquer. We will never force our culture or government on others. The Guardian Fleet exists only to protect, not to rule. And if we do not believe you? Court challenged. Jiwoo met his eyes. Then watch what happens in the Yaltrin system, Ambassador. Watch how we handle the Krejon. Watch whether we destroy them or give them a chance to leave peacefully. Watch whether we occupy Yaltrin worlds or withdraw after the threat ends. Actions will prove our intentions better than words. Across the galaxy, Fleet Commander Varkesh watched his screens with growing dread. The human fleet had dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Yaltrin system. They maintained perfect formation. 847 ships arranged in groups by function. Battle cruisers in front, hospital ships protected in the middle, support vessels on the flanks. It was the most disciplined fleet deployment Varkesh had ever seen. These ships moved like they had trained together for decades, every movement precise, every position calculated. This was not a hastily assembled rescue force. This was a professional military operation. They are not approaching yet, his sensor officer reported. They hold position at the system's edge. Range to their nearest ships? 6 light minutes, far beyond weapons range. What are they waiting for? Unknown, Commander. They are just waiting. Varkesh understood. The humans were giving him time to think. Time to understand his situation. Time to realize he had no chance of victory. They were not attacking immediately because they wanted him to surrender. They wanted to avoid casualties on both sides. It was tactically brilliant and psychologically devastating. The humans were so confident they did not even need to hurry. They could wait. They could let Varkesh's own fear do their work for them. Send a message to Dominion Command, Varkesh ordered. Tell them we have encountered a human fleet. Request immediate reinforcements. Commander, reinforcements would take weeks to arrive. I know. Send it anyway. Thrax approached. Commander, the crews are frightened. They have seen the size of the human fleet. Some captains are asking if we should withdraw. Withdraw! Varkesh's voice was sharp. We are the Krasian Dominion. We do not flee from anyone. But, Commander, we are outnumbered nearly 3-1, against an unknown enemy with unknown capabilities. Varkesh wanted to rage. He wanted to order the attack. He wanted to prove that Krasian warriors feared nothing. But he was also a realist. His fleet could not win this battle. The numbers were impossible. How long until we are in their weapons range if we maintain current position? They would need to advance 5 light minutes, at standard fleet speed, approximately 18 minutes. Then we have 18 minutes to decide our fate. On his screen, the human fleet held position. Perfect, patient, waiting, like a predator that knew its prey had nowhere to run. Varkesh had been that predator many times. He had surrounded countless worlds. He had watched enemy ships panic and flee or surrender. Now he knew how they felt. The helplessness, the certainty of defeat, the desperate hope that somehow, impossibly, things might turn out differently than logic said they would. His communication console flashed. Incoming transmission. Broadband. The humans were about to speak. Put it on screen, Varkesh ordered. A human face appeared. An older male with gray hair and tired eyes. He wore a simple uniform with Admiral insignia. This is Admiral Lee Min-jun of the Earth Defense Fleet. Krasian Dominion, you are surrounding 3 worlds of innocent people. The Admiral's voice was quiet, almost gentle. But something in those tired eyes made Varkesh's blood run cold. These were the eyes of someone who had seen terrible things, someone who had done terrible things, someone who had made hard choices and lived with the consequences. You have 2 choices, the Admiral said, and you have 60 seconds to make them. Admiral Lee Min-jun looked into the camera with eyes that had seen too much war. His face appeared on every screen of every Krasian ship in the system. On the Yaltran worlds below, civilians watched in their homes. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council observed through emergency broadcast channels. The entire situation balanced on what happened in the next 60 seconds. Choice 1, the Admiral said in that quiet, tired voice. Leave immediately. Flee. Run. We will not pursue you. We will not hunt you down. We are not here for vengeance. We are here to protect those who cannot protect themselves. If you leave now, this ends peacefully. You return to your space. We return to ours. No one dies today. On the crushing fist, Fleet Commander Varkesh felt something he had not felt in 30 years of military service. Real fear. Not the excitement before battle, not concern about tactical problems, real deep fear that came from knowing he faced something far stronger than himself. Choice 2, Admiral Lee continued. Refuse, stay, fight. In which case, we will disable every ship in your fleet within 4 minutes. Not destroy, disable. We will use non-lethal weapons to stop your engines, your weapons, your shields. Then we will board your vessels. We will arrest every one of you. You will stand trial at the Galactic Court for crimes against sapient species. You will spend the rest of your very long lives in prison cells, watching the species you tried to enslave, thrive, and rebuild without you. Thrax leaned close to Varkesh. Commander, he is bluffing. No fleet could disable 300 ships in 4 minutes. It is impossible. Admiral Lee smiled slightly, as if he had heard that exact objection. I know what you are thinking. You think I am lying. You think no one could do what I just described. So I will prove it to you. Right now. The Admiral nodded to someone off-screen. Target 50 Krasian fighters. Disable them. Non-lethal force only. Execute. On the tactical display, Varkesh watched in horror as 50 red dots suddenly went dark. His sensor officer gasped. "Commander, 50 of our fighters just lost all power. Engines dead. Weapons offline. Life support minimal." "How long did that take?" The sensor officer checked his logs. His voice shook. 2.3 seconds, Commander. 2.3 seconds. 50 ships disabled simultaneously with perfect precision. The human fleet had not even moved. They fired from 6 light minutes away and hit 50 separate targets in less than 3 seconds. The technology required for that level of accuracy was beyond anything Varkesh understood. "Your pilots are alive," Admiral Lee said. "They are uncomfortable but unharmed. We have already dispatched recovery vessels to retrieve them. They will be returned to you after you leave this system. That is mercy, Commander Varkesh. Learn to recognize it." Varkesh's hands gripped his command throne. The Admiral knew his name. Of course he did. Humans had probably been gathering intelligence on the Krejan Dominion for years while pretending to be peaceful explorers. They knew everything. They had planned for this. "I want to be very clear," the Admiral continued. "We can destroy your fleet. Our weapons technology is decades ahead of yours. We could turn every one of your ships into clouds of debris in less than a minute, but we will not do that. Because we are not like you. We do not want to kill. We want to save lives. Even Krejan lives if you give us the choice." The Admiral leaned forward. His tired eyes seemed to look directly at Varkesh through the screen. "I have studied your culture, Commander. You value strength. You respect warriors. You think mercy is weakness? Let me correct that misunderstanding. Mercy is not weakness. Mercy is the hardest thing a warrior can choose. It takes no courage to kill an enemy. It takes no strength to destroy the helpless. Real strength is having the power to destroy and choosing not to. Real courage is showing mercy when vengeance would be easier." Around the command deck, Krejan officers shifted uncomfortably. The Admiral's words struck at the core of their entire culture, everything they believed about strength and power. "You have 40 seconds left," Admiral Lee said. "I need your decision. Will you leave peacefully, or will we remove you by force? Either way works for us, but I promise you this. If you choose to fight, you will lose. Every single ship in your fleet will be disabled. Every single member of your crew will be arrested, and you will spend decades in a prison cell, wondering why you chose pride over sense." Varkesh looked at his tactical display. 300 Krejan ships, 847 human ships. Even without the technological advantage, the numbers were impossible. And the humans had just proven their technology was far superior. They could shoot with perfect accuracy from distances that should be impossible. They could disable ships without destroying them, which required even more sophisticated targeting than lethal weapons. This was not a battle. This was not even a siege. This was an execution waiting to happen, unless Varkesh made the right choice. "Commander," Thrax whispered, "what do we do?" 20 seconds, Admiral Lee announced. Varkesh thought about his crew. 300 ships meant 90,000 Krejan warriors. If he ordered them to fight, they would obey. They would die or be captured, and for what? Pride, honor. The Dominion would not even remember their names after they lost. "If we withdraw, the Dominion will call us cowards," Thrax said quietly. "If we fight, we will be dead cowards," Varkesh replied. "At least as living cowards, we can warn others about the humans." 10 seconds. Throughout his fleet, Varkesh could see ships breaking formation. Some captains were already preparing to flee. They could see the situation as clearly as he could. This was not winnable. This was not even survivable if they fought. "Commander, we need to decide," his communication officer called out. 5 seconds. Varkesh looked at the human fleet one last time. They had not moved. Had not fired except for that single demonstration. They were so confident that they just waited. Patient. Certain. Like adults watching children decide whether to obey or face consequences. That was what broke Varkesh's pride. The humans were not angry. They were not excited for battle. They were just waiting. Like this was routine, like disabling a fleet of 300 warships was something they did regularly, like the entire Krejan Dominion was just another minor problem to solve before lunch. "Open a channel," Varkesh ordered. His voice sounded hollow even to his own ears. "Fleet-wide broadcast." "Channel open, Commander." Varkesh took a deep breath. This was the end of his military career, the end of his reputation, the end of everything he had built over 30 years. But it was not the end of his life or the lives of his crew. "All ships, this is Fleet Commander Varkesh. All vessels are to initiate emergency jump procedures. Set course for Dominion space. We are withdrawing from this system immediately. Any captain who does not follow this order within 30 seconds will be left behind. Execute now." The tactical display showed chaos. Ships scrambling to power up their hyperspace drives. Some vessels collided in their panic to escape. Others fled so quickly that they pushed their engines beyond safety limits. The perfect Krejan formation shattered into panicked retreat. On the screen, Admiral Lee nodded slowly. "A wise choice, Commander. For what it is worth, you just saved 90,000 lives. That takes its own kind of courage. Perhaps you understand mercy better than you think." The Admiral's image disappeared. The human fleet remained in position, watching the Krejan withdrawal but making no move to pursue. True to their word, they had said they would not hunt fleeing enemies. They were keeping that promise. Varkesh felt his ship shudder as the hyperspace drive activated. Around him, his officers avoided his eyes. They knew what this meant. They would return home in disgrace. They had fled from battle. The Dominion did not forgive such things, but they would return home alive. That had to count for something. As the crushing fist jumped into hyperspace, Varkesh took one last look at the human fleet. Still in perfect formation, still waiting patiently, not celebrating, not pursuing, just doing their job. In that moment, Varkesh understood. The humans had not come to fight. They had come to protect, and they had succeeded without killing a single being. That was true power. That was real strength. The Krejan Dominion had just learned something that would change everything. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was terrifying, and the most terrifying thing about them was their mercy. The last Krejan ship vanished from the Yaltran system exactly 7 minutes after Admiral Lee Minjun delivered his ultimatum. Some vessels pushed their hyperspace drives so hard that they suffered engine damage. Others fled in random directions, their captains too panicked to coordinate with the rest of the fleet. The most organized retreat in Krejan military history had become a complete rout without a single shot fired. On the surface of Yaltran Prime, Elder Theln stood in the central plaza of his city. Around him, millions of Yaltran watched the sky. They had prepared for death or slavery. Instead, they saw the human fleet moving into orbital positions above their worlds, not invasion positions, protective positions. "Elder Theln," his aide called, "the humans are requesting permission to send down medical ships and relief supplies." Theln laughed. Then he cried. Then he laughed again through his tears. "Permission? They just saved our entire species and they are asking permission? Tell them yes. Tell them thank you. Tell them we owe them a debt we can never repay." Within hours, human ships landed on all 3 Yaltran worlds. Medical teams set up field hospitals to treat those injured during the Krejan blockade. Engineers began repairing damage to orbital stations. Supply ships delivered food, medicine, and construction materials. The humans moved with calm efficiency, like they had done this many times before. A young human soldier helped rebuild a damaged school on Yaltran Prime. Elder Theln watched him work alongside Yaltran civilians. The soldier smiled and joked with the children. He showed them pictures of Earth. He taught them a human song about hope. "Excuse me?" Theln approached carefully. "May I speak with you?" The soldier looked up and smiled. "Of course, Elder. I am Corporal Kim Sung-ho. How can I help you?" "I wanted to thank you. Your people saved us. But I also wanted to ask something. That fleet that came, where has it been all this time? Why did we never know about it?" Kim Sung-ho sat down on a piece of rubble. He gestured for Theln to join him. "My grandmother told me a story when I was young. She said that her grandmother lived through one of Earth's darkest times. A genocide. Millions of people killed just because of who they were. My grandmother said the worst part was not the killers. The worst part was everyone else. All the people who had the power to stop it but did nothing. I do not understand. What does this have to do with the fleet? When we joined the Galactic Council, we learned about the Krejan, about the species they enslaved, about the others like them throughout the galaxy, and we realized something. We had the technology to build ships. We had the resources to create a fleet. We had the people willing to serve. The only question was whether we would use that power to stop evil when we saw it, or whether we would be like those people who did nothing while my grandmother's family died." "So you built the Guardian fleet." "We built it. We trained for 20 years. We hoped we would never need to use it. Every day that passed without needing the fleet was a good day. It meant no species was facing extinction. But we also knew that eventually someone like the Krejan would threaten someone like you. And when that happened, we would be ready." Theln was quiet for a moment. "Why keep it secret? Why not tell the Council you had this capability?" Kim smiled sadly. "Because fear changes people, Elder. If everyone knew humanity had a fleet that powerful, they would be afraid. They would build their own fleets to match ours. We would start an arms race. The galaxy would become more dangerous, not less. So we stayed quiet. We acted like peaceful explorers. We helped where we could with medicine and aid, and we kept our weapons hidden until we needed them. But now everyone knows. Yes, now everyone knows. Things will change. Some species will fear us now, others will ask for our protection. It will be complicated, but at least you are alive. At least the Yaltrin still exist. That makes it worth the complications." Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council met in emergency session for the third time in a week. The chamber was tense. Every species had an opinion about the human fleet. Some were grateful, others were frightened, a few were angry. Commander Jiwoo Park stood before them all, calm as ever. The council speaker addressed her directly. "Commander Park, the council needs assurances. What are humanity's intentions with this fleet? Will you use it to dominate council politics? Will you enforce your will on other species?" Jiwoo shook her head. "No, Speaker. We will not dominate. We will not enforce our will. We have one mission and one mission only. To prevent genocide, to stop extinction. That is all." Ambassador Court stood. He looked different now. Less mocking, more serious. "And who decides when intervention is necessary? You? Your government? What stops you from claiming any military action is preventing genocide?" "That is a fair question, Ambassador. We have established clear criteria. The Guardian fleet only deploys when a species faces existential threat, total destruction or permanent enslavement of an entire species or major population. We do not intervene in territorial disputes. We do not take sides in political conflicts. We do not impose our culture or government. We only act when extinction is the alternative." The Pelthian ambassador spoke. "What about the Krejan Dominion? They have enslaved 47 species. Will you free them all?" "If those species ask for help, yes. We will support their freedom movements. But we will not invade Krejan space unprovoked. We are not conquerors. We are guardians. There is a difference." "A very fine difference," Court said. "Perhaps. But it is the difference between us and the Krejan. They use their power to enslave. We use ours to protect. They take freedom. We defend it. That difference matters." The debate continued for hours. Some species proposed that the Council regulate the human fleet. Others suggested humanity share their technology with all council members. A few proposed that humans take a leadership role in council military operations. Jiwoo refused all of it. The Guardian fleet operates outside normal council command structures for a reason. We answer to our own government and to our own conscience. We will coordinate with the council when possible. We will share intelligence when appropriate. But we will not surrender control of our fleet to committee decisions. When genocide is happening, there is no time for votes and debates. We must be able to act immediately. That is unacceptable, one ambassador declared. You are demanding the power to intervene anywhere, anytime, with no oversight. No, Ambassador. We are accepting the responsibility to help those who have no one else. You are welcome to build your own fleets for the same purpose. We would celebrate having partners in this mission, but we will not slow down our response times to satisfy bureaucratic procedures while innocent people die. The debate ended with no consensus. Some species praised humanity, others condemned them. A few quietly began requesting bilateral defense agreements with Earth. Smaller species especially wanted the protection humanity offered. On his flagship, Admiral Lee Min-jun stood alone in his quarters. The rest of the fleet was helping with Yaltron reconstruction. His job was done. The Guardian fleet had succeeded in its first major deployment. No one had died. The enemy had retreated. The threatened species was safe. So why did he feel so tired? He looked at the photos on his wall, images from Earth's history, concentration camps, mass graves, memorials to the dead. His great-grandfather had died in one of those camps. His family carried that history like a weight. We remember, he said quietly to the photos. We remember what happens when good people have power, but choose to do nothing. We remember what happens when strong nations ignore genocide because it is not convenient to intervene. We remember all of it. He touched a photo of a memorial, names carved in stone, thousands of names, millions of names, people who died while the world watched and did nothing. So we became strong. We built ships, we trained warriors, not to conquer, not to rule, but to make sure that when someone screams for help, someone answers. When a species faces extinction, someone comes. When evil rises, someone stands against it. A message appeared on his console. From Earth Command. Congratulations on the successful mission. Well done. Return home when ready. But there was another message below it. Intelligence reports of Krejan forces gathering near the border of the Pelthian Union. Possible preparation for invasion. Analysts gave it 60% probability within 6 months. Lee sighed. The work never ended. There would always be another Krejan, another threatened species, another crisis where the Guardian fleet might be needed. We remember, he repeated, and we will never forget. That is our promise. That is our burden. That is why we built these ships. He looked out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there, species lived in peace, because today humanity had kept its promise. The Yaltron would rebuild. Their children would grow up free. That was worth everything. We remember, Admiral Lee said one last time. We remember what happens when strong people do nothing. So we became strong enough to do something. And we will never forget again. The Guardian fleet began its long journey home. Behind them, 3 worlds celebrated their freedom. Ahead of them, more worlds waited. More species needed protection. The galaxy was vast, and evil was always patient. But humanity was patient too. And humanity remembered. That made all the difference.